people had a very, very interesting conversation. Very interesting conversation today. I will submit to you and I will prove my premise. I'm going to submit my premise to you and I'm also going to prove it to you. You do not need money to make money. Let me say it once again. You do not need money to make money. You don't have an income problem or a capital problem. You have an ideal problem. If you have the right ideal concepts, whatever, you can get the money. That's the problem. If you find what you want to do challenging to get the money, it's your ideal. Because and it's your ideal on two fronts. If you are not motivated to do whatever you need to do to raise the money on your means, which means sell your house, which means sell your car and get a hoopty, which means, hey, get a roommate or two or three to ease your monthly burden so you can use that money for the business. Let me say it again because I don't think that you are with me. It's not a capital problem. It's not a money problem. It's an ideal problem. If you're not motivated enough to do whatever you need to do to get these things going, your ideal is the problem. It's not good enough, it's not motivating enough, or it's just flawed. There's something that's wrong with it. Because many, many people here have an ideal of how I should live my life, but I am a high-minded futurist. I believe in the future. I believe in technology. I think things are going to be better because I embrace change. Came out of a business which was a hard asset business, which involved trucks, diesel, warehouses. There was a lot of cost with that business. And I moved into a business model where the cost up front is time. This is why I'm telling you, I live on this concept. The vehicle that I'm in was bought by this concept that it's an ideal problem. If you are part of the G-verse and you're on my email list, you know you get a shitload of stuff. I'm always testing ideals. I am always testing concepts because I know it just takes one good one to make a week, to make a month, or in the case of my first book, 2.5 freaking years. I lived on one book for 2.5 freaking years. And I know what you're going to say. Well, Glendon, everyone can't write a book. And I'm going to say, bullshit. When I wrote my first book, I couldn't write a book. There's nothing I did before. I did not take a course. I sat down. I did it. Later on, I put more money into it because I made massive mistakes. But once again, the concept, the ideal was good enough to get past all of my mistakes. Once again, you don't need money to make money. I want you to say this because I see so many people who are waiting to get to that position to get the money so they can do the damn thing. Stop fucking waiting. Time is the most precious resource that you have. Stop fucking waiting. If you need 100 grand, scale down your ideal where you can do it with 5,000, get to 5,000 and get fucking started. That's what you do. You don't wait until you get to 5 grand. You don't get pissed at family members who won't give you the money. Because once again, it's their money and two, your ideal isn't good enough. If it's not good enough for you to sell out, why should anyone else invest in it? Do you know that when you take out an SBA loan, they make you collateralize Boo Boo the cat? It's like, hey, we're giving you this money. Do you believe in what you're doing to the point that you're going to collateralize Boo Boo the cat? You should, because if you don't, they shouldn't give you the money because you're not committed to your ideal. You're not committed to your console. One of the biggest notions, especially in, say, 2000 up to now, that you need all this money to start a business. No, you don't. If you, and I'm going to give you an example. Say you go ahead and you collateralize Boo Boo the cat. Boo Boo is like, yeah, what the fuck? And you're like, Boo Boo, we're going to keep you. We just need you because you're highly valuable. We need you as collateral to get their asset, which is capital. So we now have capital to do more. There'll be plenty of catnip for your ass later, but right now we got to do this. You go ahead and you get the money. Because this is the thing. If you want to start a business, you cannot live the life that you're living and start the business if you are loaded down with obligation. Notice I didn't say debt. There are people who don't have debt, but because of their obligation, mortgage, rent, car notes, student loans, you can't do nothing. And as long as you think that you're going, because this is what everyone wants to do. They want to make the current situation better before they move to the next situation. And the current situation that you're living in was based on what? How you think. And if your level of thinking has not changed, your circumstances and your situation will not change. None of that shit's going to change. It's not. Because if it was, you would experience the change. Whenever I am doing stuff and it's not working out, first thing I do is I step up on the podium and go, okay, I fucked up somewhere. Sorry, I fucked up. Something went wrong. Not that the world doesn't like me. Or people's favorite excuse, well, the Lord didn't want me to have it at this time. Let me tell you something. I'm going to step up on this because the God that I believe in wants you to have it all. But see, there's a price, and it's called WORK. If you're willing to work, you can have it. It's there for you. It's there. But I've seen so many people, and this is just me. I think a lot of people who are religious for spiritual edification. I get that. And I think a lot of people are religious because it provides a scapegoat for mediocrity. It's like, well, if you're with the right people and you say, Lord didn't want me to have that. Yeah, well, yeah, you're going to get a lot of commiseration with that because they believe in the same thing. I will tell you, universal law does not care if you're good spiritual or not. It doesn't give a damn. It does not care. And if you think it does, you are been frustrated for a long time. But potentially, to get everything that you want, things that you need, the things that make your world go round, you can have. Stop thinking you have to get all this money. Go to Kickstarter. If you are thinking you need money to get your shit going, go to Kickstarter and just research projects and research that someone had enough balls or nipples, pinched their nipples, and stepped up to Kickstarter and said, look, world, this is what we're doing, and we want your money. Would you please pledge? Thank you. And, this is something that's, I think everyone should have at least 1 to 2 years of direct sales experience where you actually have to sit down in front of a stranger and say, excuse me, I'm here, and this project that you want done is going to cost you $150,000. I need a $75,000 deposit check to get things rolling. You have people who are afraid to ask for a fucking dollar. Imagine the sweat-inducing state when you're sitting there asking this little person who hasn't smiled, who just said formally, hello, and you're asking for that kind of money because it is the 4th meeting, you don't know where they are, and you're just like, you know what? I need to close these motherfuckers. I need to close these motherfuckers. Because when I developed what I call going down in flames, because there's 2 ways you can go down. There's 2 ways you can fail. You can fail like a coward with your tails between your legs, running away, or you can fail like a dragon, and you just explode in flames. Because the bigger your failure, the bigger your lesson. If you start practicing failing big, you will start winning big. All right. Thank you for bearing with me for the experiment. I wanted to see because I was hearing a lot of things that I didn't see on this end, and I just like, let me jump in there and see what the hell's going on. But yeah, the lag time's a trip. The lag time's a trip. I really didn't know it was that bad. But now back to the regular scheduled programming. We're going to talk about luck. Now, something else I'm doing. This will not be. Louis back in the house. I'm not going to let this one post to YouTube because as soon as it processes, I'm going to make it private and delete it. We're going to make it private and then just share it in the groups because one of the things, as I always tell you about experimentation, exploration, very few people will watch an hour-long hangout after it's done because people are busy. It's not even about if the content's good or not. People are busy. It's more participatory, as it took to get this spit that out, if you're here and you can interact and you can be one of the cool kids and you can talk to people and you can be part of this experience because a lot of stuff's changing. I'm not going to make any announcements because I'm still letting the people in the groups that are being impacted by these changes know what's going on that everyone doesn't know. So I will, the next few weeks are going to be real interesting. But yeah, I looked at, it was funny because I was thinking about that, what you were saying about the lag time, because I had two computers on the same LAN, both hogging a lot of bandwidth. Matter of fact, I am going to kick out of this and see, it might make it better. Just come out of here. Okay, so that's done. We're out of there. But yeah, there's an audio component. So this is what I'm talking about. Let me look at you and see if, yeah, there's definitely an audio component. And you should be good. I'm looking at your thing. So let's see. Who has a camera on? Nobody has a camera on because I was going to do something different. But I will go back to the chats. Yeah, there is an audio component. I mean, there's so many things that could be going on. You may have something muted and not even know it. But to the regular programming, luck. This was inspired by hate. It was inspired by a little hate. I was sitting down having lunch with some friends, and there was a person I haven't seen in years. And he said, "Wow, you got that company going, publish company. You sure got lucky." All right, I got these big trapezoid muscles, and all that stuff popped up, and my hair popped. I was pissed. I was like, "Wait a minute, how are you going to marginalize my accomplishments like that?" Then the conversation went on, and the traps went down, and the Incredible Hulk didn't come out, and people started like, "Yeah, you need luck. Yeah, you need luck." And I'm sitting there like, "No, you don't need luck. You need to work. You need to put forth effort." I did not get lucky in the storage auction business. I worked my ass off. And I started looking at how many people think luck is a necessary requirement to success. Luck, God, some mystical genie on the cloud, the universal forces conspiring in your favor. I'm telling you, that's not part of it. And as someone was putting in the group the other day, that we have self-talk that's damaging. And if you on some real core level believe you need to have luck to be successful and you feeling unlucky, you will block whatever's coming into your life. If you've been hearing it. Oh, hate. I when I came on YouTube and stuff started, I used to classify people as dissenters because I feel in order for you to really hate somebody, you got to know them. You got to have a feel for them, and I have to kind of step back from that and realize that there are many people will hate you on the fantasy. They know nothing about you, have no clue, but because there's something that's in you that they cannot stand, they're going to hate you and actually try to do damage. Yeah, I would agree, Jacob. Taking responsibility is extremely difficult because, as I put all of my business on YouTube, I made some bad mistakes and I fucked up in life and I paid the cost of being in a very bad position for a very long time. And if you never take responsibility, you'll never take ownership of your life. But people are stuck on this luck thing, and as the conversation around the table, and just to put it out there, I believe in God, but I'm not a fan of religion, if that makes any sense to anyone. And they were just going on and they're just saying like, well, God didn't want. I'm sitting there at the table like about ready to lose it because I'm hearing all of this bad information. And what essentially when you get put in that position where you think, I like that, labor under correct knowledge. I like that. When you get put in this situation of you're putting a ceiling on your success and you're putting a limitation on your desires and wants because there's this thing that is out of your control that's ruling everything. And if you're in good favor, you get what you want, and if you're not in good favor, you don't get it. I mean, it's kind of like insane. And I was sitting there, and this is something else I want to prepare everyone that's listening to this. When you become more successful, because I'm not going to say you're not successful, I'm going to say when you become more successful and other people start to take note, understand that you will activate some latent desires or some latent hate in people that you don't even know. It will blow your mind. And it's stupid, petty stuff. It's stupid human tricks. Stupid human tricks. But for you, because I think at some point when I was stupid, that, yeah, I believed in luck. Give you an example of when I was stupid. Like I was a big believer of horoscopes. And I would like look at the horoscope, and sometimes I play these stupid games with myself. Like I wouldn't look at the horoscope to the end of the day, see if it was correct and stuff like that. And when I read The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph E. Murray, and before anyone can ask, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna send you a link to what I'm talking about, so you can go on Amazon. Here we go. I found it, and yeah, I will. This one is Kindle edition. The book is $1.99. You can't beat that. So I will give everybody that link, and I will also give everybody the recommendation to go and get it. So bam, there it is. You can get it because it's just when I came across that book, it forced me to confront some mindsets that I had. Because if you believe in the power of your subconscious mind and you believe that you can become self-actualized and you can activate and do things, you cannot believe in horoscopes. Because that's saying, hey, there's this stuff that was predetermined by the stars, the moon, and the sextant in the house and all this stuff. And there's nothing. Then to give credit, create credit to other people, the stuff you read in the newspapers isn't even like the serious horoscope stuff. That's just general. Because there are people who study this stuff. But going with what I learned, I had to stop reading those newspapers. I had to stop believing in certain things. Because when you go through this process of change, you're going to have to shed some stuff to gain some stuff. And that was one of the things I had to shed. Because the first year after I read the book, it was marginally successful. And it wasn't because the book wasn't good. It was because I had all of these speed bumps, roadblocks, fallen trees. I mean, there was so much debris in the way that I had to clear out. And once I got it, it works within days or weeks now when it used to take months or a year. It is crazy. I mean, The horoscope thing is very powerful. It's very big. There are people making a lot of money, but if you really want to control your life and you really, really are in good, you know, really trying to make a change, you just can't do that. Louis, he's cracking me up. But back to the luck thing. And they went on, and this subject just kept going on and on and on. And I'm one person sitting at a table with five other people. Three I know are very devout Christians. And like I said, I'm not trying to piss on anyone's religion, but if you work harder than you pray, I guarantee you there's going to be more results from the work than the praying. I'm not going to say prayer doesn't work. I'm not going to get in that conversation. But for me, I noticed that when I stopped praying and I started working, I was able to I was able to be able to do way more. Because I want you to think about this. Read their palms every day for $5. If y'all knew where he worked, that'd be funny. Um, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. But they were going on and on and on. And I've learned that you cannot kill sacred cows unless you have armor on. I didn't have my armor on that day. I didn't feel like going to the back of the car to get the suitcase and put the armor on because I was outnumbered. I was totally outnumbered because if I believed what they believed, I would still be in that fucking boarding house. Still like, well, God does not want me to leave. My mission here is to serve and baptize these crackheads. You can't think like that. I'm going to read this because this is cracking me up. For those who believe in predestination, walk on any major highway during rush hour, and if it's not your time to go, you'll be fine. Yeah, it's kind of like you make a good point because if it's not your time to go, you can jump in front of. You'd be like Superman. Well, what's that movie, Unbreakable? The guy who just nothing was going to happen to him. So it was going on, and I just started thinking, how many times have I heard that? You're lucky. Um, the force may be with you. All of these things that are not part of actual success because the Google guys didn't get lucky. They worked their ass off and they got it to the market. Um, let's see. The debris was resistance training, man. Part of it was upbringing. I grew up in the South, and there's a lot of. I was actually talking to my bunny yesterday about this. There's a lot of stuff that is taken as gospel that actually holds people back. But if everyone in the field of sacred cows believe in that, and you come out and you start, boom, shooting sacred cows, they're going to revolt on you and burn your ass at the stake. Because what I've learned from doing this and talking to the good people like such as yourself is when you remove something that is sacred and important to a person, and there's nothing of an equivalent level to replace it, these people could go crazy. There's a reason they're fighting because you're pulling at something really, really. That's why I shut up at the table. It was just like, really, just, I became a glad hand. I was like, I'm not starting this today. I'm not starting this. And I look at it like these two books, well, the Power of Your Subconscious Mind and Lead the Field. I actually turned that into my religion. I read the book maybe 15 times, maybe 20. I listened to Lead the Field a few hundred times probably, and that stuff got in there, and I started using it, and my life turned around. Now, this is the thing that drives people crazy. I could have been the evilest person in the world if I had still taken those two books, those two pockets of information. I would have had the same results. I know someone who knows this stuff who's evil as hell and is extremely successful in anything he wants to do. Married to a great woman. He doesn't treat her right. But he knows how this stuff works because we talk about it. He knows how this stuff works. And he knows you don't have to. And that's the thing. I think that's why a lot of people who are really into it try to always put positive, doing something gainfully worthwhile for humanity. Because if folks really knew that you could be like Charles Manson and use this stuff, and I give you a great example of someone who knew how to use this stuff and was evil, Hitler. Because have you ever asked yourself, and I'm not, trying to give any praise to a madman, but I want you to think about this. This guy was able to convince people to go kill people that did nothing to them. To a degree, when we launched military campaigns against other countries, you get people, we had to go in there, we had to bomb them, and you don't know none of the details. You could be straight up lied to, and we with it. And that's just the power of using this stuff. Just a black screen for me, no audio or video. That could be your internet connection. It could be. But essentially, when you were like looking at luck and good fortune, because when I was testing out your experience, because I'm putting myself in your shoes, I see, because when I'm looking at this, the video is all crisp and everything, and when I was looking at it on the screen, it's all fuzzy. Apparently, they clean that up when it goes up to YouTube. But really, one of the best things that you can do for yourself is to become very practical and start to look at life from very practical terms. Because that's what, being poor, going through the stuff that I went through, it made me really, really become practical. So Hitler was yeah, that's another thing. This is what I'm talking about. Morally, the dude was bankrupt. Morally, he was bankrupt, but he was a genius, and he understood universal law. Have you ever noticed, and I want everyone to do this, go on YouTube and find speeches from 1930 on back, and just notice how these people carried themselves. There's a lot of things that people used to do and talk about because we didn't have all this technology. When you go back to the Greeks and Socrates, and they created mnemonics. This is a way to remember a lot of information and relay it to people. Let's see. I'm going to read this because, this is this is pretty good. Religion is faith, and this is by Chuck. Because a lot of people watch this. Well, they won't watch this later. This is just for y'all. Because there's also people who are not in the chat room who can't see this. Religion is faith. It's about philosophy. It is your moral compass and laws to your life, which in itself is a bit of a mystery. I am religious to a point, but I've been losing it a bit. You need action too. At times, destiny, religion, luck, etc. sets up a predetermination. You can set yourself up to fall. You can listen to false prophets or bad people and get fucked up for a long time because of it. Bad preacher, parent, teacher will make you believe you're screwed before you even get out on your own. And I will 100% co-sign that, because I've noticed something with our kids that it's rare that you'll see a kid that's a kid. And what I mean, kids are naturally happy, a lot of questions. You see many 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old miniature adults. Their childhood was gone like 4. It was gone, and they became very adult-oriented, which I think is bad, which I really think is bad. But there's a lot of that. Jacob, election time is the best time to see how people use power to manipulate. I agree 100%. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with you, Wayne. George, the Bible actually promotes hard work. I'll read the whole thing. The Bible actually promotes hard work. Ecclesiastes 5:19 says the gift God gives is to people, and they should take reward and rejoice in hard work. James says faith without work is death. The true God promotes hard work for good purpose. As I will say, I can't disagree with that, because that's what I promote. Because the harder I work, the luckier I get. I've just seen it too many times. I mean, when I can go out of the storage auction business and do something which I'm telling you, you can do the same thing. You can start something new. Start a publishing company and turn that into enough money to live on within 14 months. It's from just knowing that you can go out there and do stuff. Uh, and George, to what you just said, anyone who promotes otherwise is not following the Bible. There's a lot of people not following the Bible. There's a lot of people not following the Bible because I see a lot of nonsense. Because I've even gotten people, I'll even share this because I get this email, depending on the frequency of videos, at least once a month or twice a month. The worst time, it was like every week I was getting this email. It's like, hey, Glenda, I noticed, I've been watching the videos and everything, and I noticed you ain't praising God, boy. You need to give praise and I'm like, where's this person coming from? Where's this person coming from? But essentially, if you want to be successful, you must rid yourself of the luck factor. That I need to be lucky. You need to be dedicated. One of the reasons I was a big believer of Asian philosophy was they promote getting smart versus being smart. In America, we appreciate what looks smart, which looks wealthy, and kind of piss on what really is smart and wealthy, which is really ironic when you think about it. People. I must admit, I really do enjoy the chat room. It is like one of the best things that about this whole deal. But you get a lot of that. You get a lot of that stuff with Lucky. Give you an example. Essentially, now I know statistically, that a kid that is born to a single parent has a greater chance of not getting certain things in life. It happens. Wait a minute, I'm going to answer this. Did we write a couple of books first and create a publishing company, or the publishing first and write a book? Do both at the same time. What I've noticed is you can have kids who come from a great background, but it's a great background on paper. It's not a great background in practice. That will have the same outcome as that kid who didn't have that. Your horoscope told you it was going to be a good day. So it all comes back to, give an example. Everyone knows that there are some messed up families, right? And everyone knows there's a kid or two that comes out of that family and they're fine and they don't do any of that nonsense. Typically, these people are self-driven. And I think that's the key, because I think everybody, and this is just me, I think everyone is inherently good. Given a chance, given the right environment, most people are going to do the right thing. Just the way it has worked out for me. But you have a group of folks who live on dysfunction. They suck it down and they pack it up and they bring it out in the winter, they bring it out in the summer. But essentially, you have to rid yourself of the luck thing and stop thinking like, going back to the single parent thing. I should be dead. I should have 18 kids, and I should have been in jail prison, at least twice, 3 times. Never been in prison. Even though there's a rumor that I used to sell drugs, and that's why I've got a mug shot and shit. It's never happened. And one of the reasons that I think that it never happened is I've always worked. Some of the work I've done, it didn't pay a lot, but I've always worked. And that is one of the things. Chuck, I agree. You need faith in yourself. Does not matter if you're an atheist, Bible thumper, Muslim, or etc. I agree 100%. Because if you can figure out how to motivate yourself and how to have faith in yourself and how to not be demoralized by your failures, which I really call experiments. When I do something that doesn't work out, to me it's an experiment. And when you say experiment, everyone thinks you have to be an engineer or you have to be a scientist. No, you don't. That's one of the things I think that was so great about my childhood. It promoted experimentation. Like you go in the store and they had lab kits, and they had ant gardens, and there was all these things that you actually had to do something, observe, and learn. And kids aren't really getting that today. But anyone can experiment, and that's what I do because it, I just know most of the stuff that I work on is not going to be a big hit. I will say over the years that everything gets a result. It just may not get the result that I want. Going from I would do stuff and not get any results after putting out a fantastic amount of work. That is hard to bounce back from. I will admit that. Damn. Damn, Louis. Damn. As far as I know, there's nobody in my family with a criminal record that I know on either side. And part of that one side, like I don't know if remember when the Cosby Show came on, and there was people walking around. There are black people that live like that. I was like, yeah, I know quite a few. They're the other side of the family. Um, Typically, that's funny. I think some cities, it's almost like a rite of passage for you to get caught up in the criminal system. It's like you ain't a man unless you've been arrested, 8, 9 times and did 6 months or 2 years or something. Yeah, you got to try stuff. And this is how you become lucky. This is how you become lucky. Number one, you have to set a goal. Y'all heard me say this like a million times. And the next thing that's coming up that's going to be really, really interesting is the new training. Because, I can put this out because it's going to come out in email, but I'm going to redo 30 days of $2,500, and it's going to be really, really enhanced. So when I put that out, I'll let you know. Let's see. And once again, the chat room is getting very lively. I am the only one in my family who has an entrepreneur mindset. My well-intended friends and family are so discouraging because they're used to get a job mindset that anything successful resulting from business is automatically classified as luck or a fluke or a hustle or you doing something illegal or there's something wrong. It's real hard to deal with. It's a trip. Serve the masses, live for the classes. Oh, this is funny. Glendon, I thought this whole thing was a front because you met some mad dope money in a unit and needed to do something while you lived off your millions of billions. I will tell you, I did find a lot of money in a unit, but it wasn't millions. I will say that's true, but no, it's funny when that happened, we just kind of went, wow, that's great, and we went straight back. I went right back out there buying more units. I think when you like what you do and you have some success, you're just not going to stop doing it. I will say this, and it won't happen since I don't play the lottery unless someone wants to buy me a lottery ticket because, like, if I play the lottery and won, no, because I actually believe I'm going to make my money myself. But I decided because somebody bought me a lottery ticket and it'd be just my luck. Get the hint, luck. It'll work out that way for me. If someone would buy me a lottery ticket and they would pick the correct numbers for me, and I just decided I would just like open up this huge hustler university and put like 10 million in it and create a hustler school because essentially we have a lot of people who are smart but don't have any skill sets on how to do anything or problem solve. I mean, it's crazy. It is really, really crazy. I, I'm gonna get on this. My father and brother both tried being entrepreneurs. They both failed their first time and stopped. If only they kept at it and had resources like at this time makes me wonder. Let's put a pin in this and let's talk. This fits real well to the luck thing. My first 5 businesses failed. I had a job. I didn't try to live on the income. It was never enough. The first 5 failed. I spent. I'll tell you about the first one. Way ahead of its time. I had this ideal of do pet portraits, and went out and bought this nice 35 millimeter camera. I think it set me back like $1,600 at Wolf Camera. Overpaid for it, used credit, did all the wrong stuff, put in these real expensive ads in the AJC. Guess how many responses I got from all those ads? I spent about $2,800 on this, including the cost of the camera. Guess how many responses from all those ads? Zero. Zero. Nothing. What did I do wrong? I didn't research the market. I just thought it was such a great idea that I just jumped into it and spent a lot of money. You'd be amazed at how many people do that. But essentially, if you take each lesson of failure and apply it to the next endeavor and the next one and the next one, just like you said, B, it will start to work out because you've learned so much. Chuck's funny. Mad dope money. Let's see. Faith-based initiatives. You ought to read it. Actually, just drop it in the comments because people love these comments. I read that quote about Thomas Jefferson, not Thomas Edison. Oh, okay. If you don't know, because I put this in the group, Beats by Dre are being sold to Apple for like 3.2 billion with a B. Now this is the thing. Beats started in 2008, and they started rolling around 2010. So in 5 years, Dre made more money in 5 years than he did in the previous 25. Why? Because he produced something. I mean, eBay, Amazon, that's great, that's wonderful, but you are never going to make as much money as someone that produces a winning concept or item. Give you an example. A guy can own 4 or 5 McDonald's and is going to make way more money than virtually 99.8% of the people doing eBay and Amazon, and I'm talking about the ones who are rolling because they're producing something. David, Adonica, for repeated success will shut them up. No, it won't. No, it won't. Let me explain to you. Not repeated success, but overpowering Oprah-like success. Like, say Donica gets her business going and she's making 150, 200,000. She's living a good lifestyle. She has a nice house, nice car, and she's supporting herself. They still gonna talk about her. Now, if she blows up and she's on Oprah, then at that point, okay, now she's somebody, which I think is horrible. I think it's horrible. Chuck, I am not joking. I really thought there was more to your story. It does go down like that. I've known people to find large amounts of dough. That smart guy stayed quiet and figured it out before they act to speak. Hard thing to do when you get that lucky. Oh, see, Donica just proved it even before I even said it. David, I wish that was true. I've had 3 successful businesses. The first one I sold, the second one I dissolved, the third one is still run. The truth is, people don't change their minds about how they see you, so they just have to. That's called stasis judgment. Now, she's put it in there. I'm telling you, unless you become mega successful, you can't be like just regular successful, don't have to work a regular job, take vacation with. No, 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 no. You got to be like mega successful, and even at that point, they will still. That's a good point. If you won the lottery, the hustle would be keeping them. I'm gonna say something that I feel very fortunate. Most of my real friends and most of my family is well off. That's a really nice thing. I don't have too many people who are like fucked in my life. So, and I've actually, yeah, I wouldn't actually. Let's put it this way: if I won the lottery, I would be the person to go to the lottery commission the next day. You know why people wait months and many days and months? Because they're hiring an attorney and a CPA to mitigate all that stuff you were just talking about. I agree. Beats did a fantastic job. I'm telling you, people will just keep on with this stuff. But Now, the storage auction business, I think, was one of the best businesses I was in because it gave me so much more than just cash. It gave me experiences. It gave me all these crazy ass stories. I met so many people, and I feel fortunate to have done it long as I did before the television shows came on. Because when we, if you didn't know, I was up for a reality show. I don't have it on this computer, or do I? Nah, I don't have it on this computer. Or actually, hold on. And one of the when we're discussing stuff with the networks, nope. Well, actually, I think I can. Hold on a second. And didn't boot anybody. All right. Typically, I knew that when those shows came on, that it was going to create what it created, and it was every bit as bad as I thought it was going to be. Okay. Let's see. 55,000. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can do this. Y'all can, because since I'm not public, I can't like show this without approval. Hold on a second. Uh, okay, hold on. I've got to do this. I'm going to show you what would have happened. And so this is the cool thing, because if I was going to like publicize this, I couldn't do this. And it is. Okay. Hold on. Oh, since it's unlisted, it's not coming up there. Just give me a second to get this thing together. Go back. I'm gonna figure this out. Trust me. Trust me. I will figure this out. It's let's see. Aha. See if that will do it. All right. That right there is the first property we went to. Let me tell you how hard it was to get some of these storage facilities to even let us come and film. I went to that auction. I used to get great stuff from that place. It's out in Conyers. I was treated like the devil himself. People that I helped were dogging me out. One guy came up, what you're doing is just not right. People making a living, you're going to put this shit on television? Fuck you. And walked off. So that's what I was dealing with. But we shot the pilot. They came here. We did all that stuff. And if Travel Channel had bought it, it would have been the first storage auction show. But I'm glad it didn't happen because I'm looking at everyone that got put on television and what happened to their personal lives after. Because I think Storage Wars is still on. Like I said, I don't know. I don't watch it. But really, there's so many things that go on. And I consider it a great experience because doing that actually helped me with YouTube. in consider. I mean, really, really major ways because the cameraman, he was really good at what he did. And he gave me so many pointers because it's like you're swallowing your words, you're doing this. There is so much producing that goes into this. Then you have to do this shit over and over and over. The clothes I have on, I wore for 5 days straight because I had to wear the same clothes over and over again. And what's a lot of people don't know is I had just gotten out of the hospital maybe 6 weeks before they came to Atlanta to do this, and I didn't tell them because I was like, if they figured out I was sick, they were probably gonna pull out of shit. But hold on. Okay, well, let's do this. Let me get out of there. Okay, that should clear up the audio thing. Let's see. This is something that's very common what Louis is going through. Seriously, when that little period where I didn't have the audio, I was just talking about how the pilot stuff works. Yeah, that was because the thing is, when I switched to the app, and I thought, like, I thought you can hear. Oh, you could hear me now, but apparently I had to do something else, so that was my bad. But there's a lot that goes on with reality shows that have nothing to do with reality. I can tell you that from experience. I heard Barry's show sucks ass. That's the exact term I heard. B, my family, heck, my clan, heck, my culture still has a college education mindset. They think you're pretty much a failure if you have no college degree. Someone's got to show them how. I'm telling you, I know exactly what you're talking about. You didn't hear the audio from the clip? You just saw it? Okay, yeah, yeah, let me know this stuff. Hold on. And, I'm doing this just for future because, see, can you hear me now? Yeah, if is can everyone hear me now? I see the things going. Okay, all right. Let's pop out that. But that was good to know, and thanks for the feedback. I haven't watched any of those shows because they were getting on my freaking nerves with people borrowing my stories. That shit was driving me crazy. If you've ever, if you've ever written anything and you're reading something and you go, "That's my shit," it is one of those feelings. It's like someone stole one of your kids. But yeah, I mean, the thing with the college degree is going to fix itself because there are too many people with degrees in debt, and there will be many, many more going forward because this thing is hard to beat. That it's gonna be a big, big issue, a really, really big issue. But this was just my whole thing about a little experimentation. Thanks. So I can see it from your perspective, and also what's going on with this luck thing. Don't even get caught up in it because if I continue to believe in horoscopes and luck, and at one point I did, I wouldn't be talking to you now. That's how deep that stuff is. It will prevent you from doing what you can do because you put in this self-imposed ceiling on your success and your ability based on all these external factors that really don't exist. They only exist in your mind. That's why I did the Hustler Mindset Project in 2012 because I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how many resources you have. If you have the wrong mindset, you will not do the best you can, or you will actually fuck it up. Yeah, that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. Barry came with money, and Barry was a friend of one of the main guys on the reality show. He's a funny dude. He's a funny dude, but those shows are only going to last so long. They've been on what 3 years, going on four. So fortunately, I hope all those guys that were on the shows were putting away their money. Because another thing that happens with these shows is people become used to that money and that lifestyle, and it gets real irritating when it goes away and you can't replace it. Moral: stop listening to turtles about giraffe business. That's funny. That's funny. I like that. And that's something else that I've really started to understand when I'm out with people I know. I am everyone that has their business. We get along very well because we can sit around and discuss stuff. That if you have a job, there's just certain things you're just not going to know. It's not like you're bad or you're just not going to have a perspective. But I like that. And you will hear me steal that. I'm going to say, if you are a turtle, you don't need to be up there messing around with giraffes. That's going to come. That's definitely going to come. Well, we've enjoyed this wonderful hour. I'm going to start some stuff new. So if you're on the mailing list, you will be notified